Alright, I wanted to slow things down a little here for the face. So I have a few other Batgirl images I might do some videos on this week. I came across my commission inks over a Brett Booth Batgirl piece. I posted it on Twitter this week. I also have a piece I inked, I want to do a video about that. And I also have a piece that I penciled and inked myself with Batman and Batgirl running across the rooftops. And I've come back to this piece many times over the years and done different color jobs. And I think I want to do another one. And it's probably new to most of you, so you may think it's cool. So it'll be sort of a Batgirl week. And as I'm talking right now, I'm getting the brush loaded, sharpened up, and ready to rock and roll on this Batgirl head, cowl, and hair. So a lot of inking is getting to a destination. And what you want to do is, I want to end up here. This is my destination. So I trace back and I'll work back to that point. And as you watch me ink, you'll see that I do that a lot. I sort of line up the shot really quick. It's actually something I learned how to do when I was young playing basketball. You do it mentally. You make the shot in your head before you take the shot. Make it before you take it. So it also helps you make sure your trajectory is on. Bam. You always have to have a destination. Philosophically, figuratively, literally. A nice little round cheek, and then I want to give her a sharp little chin. And she has a nice little smile, not some snarky smirk. I really love this piece. I don't want to give it back to the guys. And I've had it for over a month now, so it feels like it's mine now. That's a problem with some of these great commissions. You get attached to them, and you hate to see them go. All right, I probably went a little too angular on that. I'm probably going to clean that up. I want to keep everything as round as possible. And I'm going to black that in, so that's okay right there. Alright, we're going to do her nose before we do her mask. A little swoopy line there. Try to do all swoopy lines, that's the professional term. You don't learn terms like that in college. You learn those terms on the streets. Learning comics the hard way. Words like swoopy. Alright, so her eyes are a little loose, but we know how eyes work. And he's got some nice shapes there. So we're going to come in and we're going to do more swoopy lines. And you can go nice and heavy. You can always go nice and heavy around the girl's eyes like this. It's not really to imply that they wear tons of makeup, but it helps sell the femininity and the prettiness. Plus it looks cool. Alright, let's see. How big do we want her irises to be? I think he's got them pretty big here, since the eyes are pretty big. We're gonna go like here. And I'm gonna, let's see. How's that looking? That's looking good, okay. Checking it out through the camera. I tried inking through the camera, not on an actual piece, of course. I was doing a practice piece, and I was just watching the monitor, or whatever, the screen on the camera. And boy, that was a trippy way to ink. Might be a fun experiment to do sometime. It was almost like playing a video game about inking, because there's a slight delay on it, and you can't really get the right, you can't tell the depth, really. So it was kind of weird, but it did feel like a video game about inking, which would be the worst selling video game of all time. Tracer X, Ink Brigade. You can find it in the discount bargain bin at GameStop. Alright, I think that's kind of working for me for the eyes. Close that one in over here. So I wanted to keep some sketchiness to this, but it's coming out cleaner than planned, but still it's got some energy, so that's okay. Alright, now her mouth is nice and simple. And let's see, so he's got her lower teeth. So I can break it down. He's got her lower teeth, and this is where they cut back on the other side. And you can't really see her upper teeth. This will be her upper lip cutting across, and then it looks like he's hinted at a highlight on her lower lip. So let's see, I think I'm going to start here. My brush is pretty light on ink, so we can get a nice thin line, even though this board is very textured and really soaking up the ink. I want everything to meet up in a tight little corner there in the mouth. And he sort of hinted at the shape of the lips there. Alright, that works for now. I'm going to leave that alone for now. Nope, I'm not. I'm not leaving it alone at all. I say things and then I start doing other things. I forgot this is our teeth. It's all in the details. It's all in the details. Okay, so now the hair. I want to touch of water on my brush. Now a lot of these lines I was using my elbow, but these really curvy lines, we're going to do a lot of wrist here. We're going to whip the wrist around. And then hold the brush up straight so we can get a nice thin line doing that. Get a little heavier as we get towards her head. Try not to have any tangents like with the corner of her chin here. We want her chin to pop. So then these parts, these S shapes, I'm going to go heavy here on the underside. And whoop, whoop. These ones you kind of do a combo of wrist and elbow. And I start in the middle. Let's see, I don't want a tangent with her mask there. We'll take it to where there's no mask line. start in the middle there so that I can come back around and go from here like this. So we're not going to follow all his lines, but we're going to use a lot of them as suggestions. Come up under here. There we go. So one of the dead giveaways that this is a Nick Darrington piece is the rendering here on the cowl. I'm familiar with this from seeing his penciled work on Twitter. The way he follows the form very beautifully and then crosses over again this way. Always following the form. Natural crosshatch he did with his zigzag, shading it in. Now, I was sure it was Nick Darrington from this, but in case that wasn't a clue, his name was Giant over here. So that'll be fun to ink. I'm going to ink mine a little smaller over here. Okay, so all that's left is the shadow, circle on her belt, and the sort of shading and rendering on her shoulders and cowl. Now, I'm not sure how I want to do that, but we're just gonna go for it. That's another thing with inking. It's just, you just gotta go for it. You gotta be willing to go for it. And you have to be unafraid when you do. You can be scared up until the point, and then you have to not be afraid and just have to do it. So let's see. You know what? We're gonna do something here. Let me rustle around in my drawers here and get some post-it notes. Alright, so here's a cheap and easy way to mask off stuff. If you have access to some cheap post-it notes, you can mask off an area like this. And while I don't necessarily need to do this one, for the demonstration purposes, we'll do it. We'll do all four. We'll close off that area. So what I did was I went to the outside of the black lines because the paper creates a little bit of a lip, and if you put that right up against the black, oh shoot, sorry, it should be here. If you put that right up against the black edge, then you're going to get a little white edge, which sometimes if you want that on purpose, you can do that, a halo, but this I want it to be, I want it to meet. So it's okay if it's going to be a little bit dry back there. We're going to go about the same thickness he went with his pencil lead. And then we'll peel away. Now these are totally reusable. I just stack them right back up on top of each other. That's an inking trick that goes back a millennia. Thousands of years ago, ancient comic artists created post-it notes just for this. So I'm going to reuse them here. And here he's got her shoulder and stuff has created a shadow. But we're going to go ahead and, instead of doing that part freehand, we're going to mask it off. So remember, I like those 45-degree angles. So I like them sharp anywhere I can get them. Okay, now here we've got it going to the top of the hand. And you know what? I will get another post-it for here. I'm going to close off the whole thing. So here we're going to do this really quickly. And then we'll do this little section. Staying in frame, sorry. We'll do this little section, and then we'll remove these two post-it notes to get at what's underneath. So let's see. Quick little test. All right, we'll drag from post-it to post-it. We drag across so that the line is strong and consistent, and we don't have any bloops in it. Any bloops that would come would be out of the area, out of the masked off area. All right, there we go. And we'll remove these. And then I'm going to switch it up for this. And let's see. Oh man, we've got a round shape there. We can just do a simple little trick like tear this in a little round shape. See if this works well enough. All right, there we go. And while I would normally mask this off, I think I'm gonna like the little chiseled brush. Stupid cat.